All right, all right. Hello, hello. Welcome, HEX fam. Got a surprise Sunday live stream. These are oftentimes quite more fun than all the stuff that's planned out with STA Silver The Antidote. Got the whale watching stream coming up later tonight. So this is unrelated to that. Don't think because of Silver's location around the globe that he might not be able to participate in that one. So with him just releasing his second video for his whale watching chain analysis, that's on top of the first one that you released. I think it was a couple days ago. And like I said in the green room, I'm only halfway through it. And of course, I love these things. It depends upon your taste, but I love going through all these accounts and the notes, and I try to do some of it myself and have learned from you. But just fun work, and yeah, I mean, we got a big event coming up tonight, and am I correct in assuming that your position tonight is this is a three arrows play from what I have seen,
I
read?
think there's a high chance of connection. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I've seen you analyze what I found really interesting was not just the chain analysis, but the actual analyzation of the interview of the two heads of that and taking into consideration, because I think it's a key point as to how they approach positions, and then learning that and then seeing your analysis of some of these accounts that may or may not be related. But yeah, it's I love it. So
Right. So first of all, people will have mixed opinions about the value of chain analysis. Some people may assume that it becomes irrelevant over time. But one thing that is critical to understand is it's a mental game as much as it's a market game. So, in order to understand the mental game, you have to understand what is socially happening in the environment. So, if you're not actually watching people who have been technically connected via chain analysis to what they're actually saying in social media, you're missing half the story. So, to get the other half of the story, people say things and do things. But what they say and do is generally not the same as what they actually do. A lot of these people fake people out because they want a market to do something. But that's
yeah,
just a game. That's a whale game.
yep. And you in your video, which um, like I said, I'm in the middle of, but you brought up a theory that we've discussed here and I've seen on other streams is kind of like the game theory involved as to, oh, well, if this large stake doesn't just go ahead and restake the 1.37, or, it sits there, it could sit there for a few days or whatever. But
Mm.
what if they sell? What if they start selling, either in a huge
Mm.
block to freak some people out immediately, like over the head, or, you know, slowly
Yeah.
draw it out and draw attention, which I thought was a more interesting point that you brought up is could they space that out and not just be the one-time event where holy crap, there's a 10 million block that just took the price down 15%. Oh, they're unloading slowly and people are watching and people are talking about it, and that becomes part of the whole process.
Yeah. So I do a breakdown of basically every scenario in part two of connecting the two main accounts that I highlighted in part one
I
with
believe
deeper
I linked to it in the description, by the way. Just
with
FYI
deeper
for people to find
thoughts.
it. Yep.
Yeah, with deeper layer thoughts of that because I wanted to make sure that was out at least a few hours before the 15th. This thing may not even unstake for a
Right.
period of time
Exactly.
and will just be a complete mental game, which is why mental games are completely relevant in the topic. Because one of the fantastic things I thought was just make people sweat. And you can even do multiple plays inside that space to make things happen. And if it is people that are trying to control the market, everyone's going to react to any single thing that they do. So there's already people front running it. The price already jumped right recently, yesterday, and now it's retracing because people are fronting it. Simple. So what will actually happen is whatever they dictate to happen, and everyone's along for the ride.
Yeah, and what's been interesting, excuse me, I don't even know if you've even noticed this, but 2 weeks ago it was very similar action to where on the Saturday we had this huge pump, and on the Sunday it just all retraced. And I just don't know if those are just weekend, you know, accounts that happen to have time here in the States, and that's when they can get in and trade and make these big moves. But
Right.
with the lower liquidity, it just magnifies anything that's going on right now.
That's it. So the transaction rates have dropped. The liquidity has dropped. Everything that's happening in this space has effectively dropped, which is why I'm having some issues with certain things. Because without continued growth, without driving this thing forward and trying for what I believe could be a potential issue in the space, it seems certain messages are being misunderstood with what I do. And sometimes I just get tired of certain things too and just want to zone out and just not read certain things. So that's the stances that I have. I put a tremendous amount of work into certain things, and I think about things very differently to many other people. So I find it very interesting how community responds. It's not something that really surprises me because I've seen it multiple times already in the past. I thought it might be somewhat different in this environment, um, but ultimately it's not, which is why market cycles always repeat, environments, communities always repeat, communities inside of coins always repeat. And that is purely because it is a financial space. And there's no two ways about it. As much as people want to have continued belief that there is some sort of environment here, I'm very, very strong in believing that a lot of people here today are not there tomorrow. And age is one of the biggest things to identify with that because many people position themselves differently based upon their age. You'll have a lot of young people who will be doing certain positions, and compared to generally older people who might have a completely different risk factor to the time that they can do things. So I think there's going to be a big change, and I've said this all along, from the top tier accounts of who's in the top 100 changing over time. And the biggest concern that I have at the moment, and it's important to say because I have a concern, how can someone drop $1 million into HEX right now safely without having too many issues to the capital that they're outlaying?
Yeah, I mean the charts out there regularly updated on Twitter.
Yeah,
It's put $1 million in, and you move the price how much against yourself?
like 50% or some shit. It's crazy.
Yeah,
So that's an issue. And then you've got the flip side of it where we can't even bring the guys in with $100 because the gas fees are too high for that. So
yeah,
we're kind of capped at both ends. So I really notice an impact happening on almost every level of reduction in how people can get in, both low level, both high level, and interest level. There's three damn levels. So if you don't care about that, then you don't care about your investment. And I care deeply about my investment. So that's why I have a stance of what I do and what I say. And it seems a lot of people get delusional in their response to that. So unfortunately, certain things have come into existence which kind of didn't need to go that way. And it's unfortunate. And it's repairable. Um, but it shows certain things of kind of like the maturity of the space too. Something everybody knows what we're talking about. Me personally, I made an action because I just wanted to remove myself for a certain period because I didn't want to you know say things that I didn't want to say. So you know I don't think a lot of people realize. I mean, you make content all the time. It's kind of a hard job, right? There's a lot of people that do things in the space to put in energy and time. So I personally put myself under a lot of pressure with a lot of things, and I'm now stepping out doing two channels. And a lot of people, I spoke to Franklin today for about an hour and a half. He seems to, get both sides of what it is that's going on. And I laid out a lot of things to him, and hopefully other chats are going to be set up later on to kind of discuss stuff, because the best way to do things is to talk about it. But sometimes people just need to chill out, right? Because life is
And,
stressful.
and people act
Yeah.
differently too. And
Yeah.
that's,
Everyone's,
and I was saying
exactly.
this, maybe in the green room or, in our messages back and forth, is that's what makes a community. And the bigger the community gets, you're going to have different personalities, and it's a great problem to have, but people react differently to different situations. And
Yeah.
it's just an understanding of over time how some people may react. And while we, excuse me, we might not agree with that's how we would react in some way, it's also
Mm.
an understanding of, okay, we're not all like ourselves, and some people do handle things differently. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather,
No,
but
it's okay. It's okay. Take some
but
water. You got some
yeah,
water?
yeah, I will. But you know what I'm saying there.
Yeah. So there's a lot of, I mean, when a lot of people start to talk, a lot of people like to jump on bandwagons, and that's an unfortunate thing of social media. You kind of make alliances. You make defend points at one area, and then you make attack points at the other to show your like allegiance, those sort of things. And what I know about the crypto space is, at the end of the day, no one's got your back anywhere, right? They just care about their balance sheets, they care about their investments, and after
Yeah,
that, there's not too much more. So that's why I kind of go into what's important is the data that I give, the information that I give. That's important. That's what I can add as value. If people want to watch it, great. If people don't, fine. But when you step over the realm of somebody that is actually going in multiple directions, things they've never done before, and are just trying to experience new things to do stuff. Like technically, I don't need to do anything. I could just let everybody do their thing, and I'll just keep my information private, and I'll just trade the fuck out of my information, as an example. But I decided that doesn't actually help the overall game of helping more people find it and understand it. So I sacrificed profit to share, because I am actually more about community. But there comes points in time where you're just like, life can stress you out. And like you say, people don't know how to react to certain things. Like, maybe people are not always the best in social environments. Maybe people are not always, I put this in a tweet, maybe people are not always the best in business environments. That's what HEX has. We have skill sets inside of every single area. I am terrible at selling things. I cannot do it. I'm awful. I'm terrible at titling my videos, right? I cannot do it, but I try. And it's like there's no one else out there to do it for me. So I have to try and find something that works. But what I do is what I do. And I think I'm okay at it, but it's at least you're doing something. So um, it's it's quite hard to actually be somebody to step up onto the mic, to step up onto a camera, to go out of your way to make things, to make value, to make content, especially in a niche area which maybe people aren't covering. So it becomes quite offensive for your own people who effectively I'm trying to protect their investments to go against you also. I think that's an important message. And I don't know about you, but if you're invested in HEX and I'm invested in HEX and a bunch of people start disliking what you're doing, or you put out any form of new media out there and people dislike it, how stupid is that? Because you're affecting your investment on a social media standpoint, right? If you were to have 30 people downvote your video, does that is that good because you have a personal opinion or you don't like the person, even though the content value might be good? What does that tell you about the people who are actually making those decisions?
And some people might say, hey, if you're the content creator, at least I'm getting somebody to punch a button.
Yeah, you
I'm
could say
producing
like,
a reaction, right?
yeah, but it's downvoting your content, which
Right.
means it will reach less. So
Exactly.
it inadvertently affects your bag, which kind of shows the intelligence level of that person.
Yes. Sorry, I was just checking to make sure that I properly linked your video. Yeah, so it is there in the description. I'll
People
timestamp.
can find it. They
I'll
know. Look,
timestamp
just
this
look, just
later.
look for the Indian.
Oh yeah, you're STA now. We're titled the Indian earlier.
Yeah, I came in as a personal joke, just titled it "The Indian."
Hey, we all know we like jokes on living crypto, but
Right.
yeah.
So that aside, do we have
Before I
any
guess,
comments? What's going on?
yeah, I was gonna say before we put that to bed,
Uh,
you did leave the door open there as like this could very well be perhaps just something that can
it's just a little
be
heated
fine in
thing.
time,
People
like
get
a reprieve. Yeah.
look.
Okay.
I care about one thing: investment. I made something private. Other people made things public. Unfortunately, mine's a public channel, but that wasn't highlighted as public display until people made it public display.
Yeah. And how much, since you say that, how much thought um, or how much did that weigh on your decision to show your face and change from the mysterious chain analysis entity to, okay, I'm putting my face out there. Is this, something that will impact trust or hopefully in a positive way for the community? Or was there a lot of thought into it, or just had a day in your mind to be like, okay, I think I'm gonna, do it within 2 months
Yeah.
or something.
So no. So a lot of I tried to explain this on the live stream that I did with RG, and a lot of people complain about how long. They just want data. Like people assume that okay, SDA is just about data, but it's not really. Like I hate doing spreadsheets. I don't really want to do them. It's a waste of time for me. I get the information at the end, but the process takes too long. And then people even complain about that. A video of an hour long or 2 hours long, which is actually 50 hours of work. Um, there's a lot of processes that I'm going through, and there's a lot of learning that I'm going through in, first of all, putting my face out there. I believe it's valuable because, first of all, I cannot link people into my crypto channel without that in this new space that I'm trying to build out. And I have a very high hope expectation that once I learn more about how to really create good, snappy content of travel, I believe I have a personality or at least um, a bit of character that is of interest, providing I can hone it down into the right time frame and of interest content. So most people are very shy of cameras. Like I'm not shy of it. I'm not shy of talking. I'm not shy of sharing my opinion, as everybody knows. Um, so the balance is finding something in this new area which I don't know about. I've only ever done crypto. I only know about crypto for the last 5 years. My travel's been private, but I've done tons of it. So I could have made a lot of videos. So now there's a building block at the base level that I have to create on YouTube with a brand new channel, with the expectation and hope that I will grow it to 100,000 followers, who will then be the tier of people who are nomadic travelers who have money, but they might not know about 40% APY. So if I get onto their radar, and most of the time I will be in their countries at some point, and I will do meetups with these types of people all over the world.
Yeah.
And those are the people that I want to get.
Yeah.
But
I
at the
think I.
moment, I'm at the base level and I have to start with nothing, which is the hardest thing. So it's relentless hours. It's learning about the the software that you have. You're learning about all different, when you first do a stream, you got no idea what you're doing. It's hard, it's complicated, you're under pressure. And
There's some learning, and mistakes will
exactly,
occur, and
exactly.
it's kind of like the old, the show must go on kind of thing. Sometimes,
Yeah,
especially if you're live.
yeah.
I've had a
So
bad investment or a moment or two, but yeah, I've learned from
it's
them,
not
and
easy. I'm
yeah,
terrible at live streams. I hate it. But it's one of those things, like when I'm doing these giveaways, the reason I'm doing like live connections with people is to show that there's real people actually getting it on the other side. So I think that is adding value, and I'm so happy with the guy that won it today, because he's a Turkish guy, and most Turkish people don't speak English. And I didn't realize this when I made my channel. When I came to Turkey for the first time, I thought most of them would speak English. No, like maybe 10%, if that. So it's like, oh, first off, I've got to change my game plan, right? But at the time, I already filmed like 2 months of videos. I've already got 2 months of video on my hard drive that I'm trying to get through. So I don't want to waffle too much, devalue.
was
But
this the man you were teaching about Hex? Was it a doctor? Did I see that?
yeah, he's training to be a doctor in Egypt. He won a scholarship to Egypt from a German company. I don't know how that all works out,
That
but
yeah,
basically, from how I see it, he's in the medical profession. He's training to become a doctor. He knows a lot of similar people in that environment, both in that area, both in Turkey. He speaks Arabic. He's of Muslim religion, and he's got about 250 followers on his social media, and he has already shared my videos with his friends, and he's very interested in knowing about HEX. So to me, the whole exercise of up to today, which I thought was kind of futile, like I'm not really getting anywhere, no one's really entering. You're getting an average of like say 100 views, but only like 2 or 3 or 4 entries, and most of those are hexagons. But this one guy, I'm happy he won, because then that goes out to a whole new sector, which is what I'm trying to create. Um, so I'm going to have to reanalyze how I try to build forward, because currently that system also isn't really worth that type of investment, and or that type of giveaway prize, because most of those people, obviously, if 100 people watch and only 2 people enter, that means 98 people will watch without entering.
you're not getting the engagement.
Right. So something is wrong with what I'm doing, and I'm trying to learn what the hell it is so I can improve. So at the moment, I've tried many things, and a lot of that money comes from what I get elsewhere. And people seem to not understand that one also. Um, and I'm not interested in explaining myself. People say, you don't need to justify what it is. But there's certain rules around running competitions that if I state where donations come from, I basically have to tell, inside of the rules, who was personally responsible for sending that in, and that becomes problematic. So it's just like, hey, to remove issues, let's just say I get a donation from there, but my personal money is paying for this. Removes all the issues. Um, so there, yeah, that's just one concept. And a lot of people, like, I'm just reading a lot of nasty things, and it's like, I'm very surprised, for someone that's going out, spending a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of efforts in multiple fields, trying to do certain things and learn along the way. So please don't do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it depends upon, some people, and it goes back to people react different in different ways. So some people, I guess, could ignore it. Others could cut it off in a sense, which for a time, which it sounds like that's what has happened here. But the door is open for it to come back. It's just let's take a pause, and that's at least what I'm understanding. um, so it's and especially if you're someone with 11,000, 12,000 followers like yourself, um, it's you're all I won't perhaps you're inviting it because of that following too, right? And so you have
you,
more eyes
you got
on.
yeah, you got to deal with hate. It comes with the territory. So it's like I'm cool with the hate. Like if you want to do that, that's cool. But I don't expect it from my own people. I expect it from outside. I don't expect it from internal. So I can give way better than you can give. If you want me to, but it's like that's not the style that you do. Um, I only ever do personal if it's totally needed. But hopefully people will see that actually there's nothing personal. Um, but it seems everybody else reacts impersonal. So yeah, I think it's a good message for people to you got a choice. Like if what you're wanting to do is take sides of an internal thing, which has been self-created, then there could be a potential fallout which wasn't even needed in the first place. Um, I mean, I could highlight say 20 things of what others have said who some are of also prominent position, but position should be irrelevant. It's just I have a personal opinion about something. I should be able to say my opinion also. I'm invested. I've got passion about what I'm doing, but I never said nasty things to anybody else. So I also say, like, if you've got no value to add, maybe sometimes people shouldn't say something. If you've got nothing nice to say, also people shouldn't say something. I think that's like a common respect because I have done several things in the environment, and you want to sling shit. It turns people off who are creative. Like if you want to do that, um, you're hurting your investment, and that's just insane to me. Um, you want as many people in that space as you can get, and it's a small space. We got a small team.
Yeah, we do absolutely, well, and it's growing, which is, I guess, a good thing to have, and it opens up the door to more, you know, I don't want to say issues, but I guess for lack of a better term right now, yes. For the methodology, I guess, if if I'm thinking of being a part of a community and maybe having disagreements, perhaps my methodology would be more so of like just ignoring the shit and be like, all right, you know what, I'm probably going to make this worse if I clap back or make a more um, just a kind of cutting off reaction that could very well get passed around, and then it gets you know sent around, and that's not anything of my doing, but in the back of my head, I could also think, okay, well, if I cut this person off from communication, then in a community, that stuff will spread a lot faster than it will, say, outside a community. And
Mhm.
this community, which is so close and awesome in crypto, that's one of the drawbacks of it is if you have, say, a personal relationship and people feel closer to you as an influencer and you were to cut off communication rather abruptly, I think that would be perhaps like a little alarming, and then it kind of sets off like a little chain of events. And um, anyway, I'm going on with that. I'm very happy to just hear that that the door's open, and we just kind of just need like a reprieve, and this is how you've chosen to handle it, and that's you, and other people are them, and life's gonna go on, and we're still on the same team. Everybody is, and what you said it in our messages before, all I care about is price up. Now the benefits of that are meeting all these wonderful people in this community, and I look forward to the ones I haven't met yet, and building those relationships. And again, it's just we all handle things differently, and you know that's all I got to say on that one.
Opinion is subjective. If somebody wants to think something, they can think something. If I want to do something, I can do something. I don't have to conform with any other body's narrative ever. I can disagree with anybody. I can disagree with Richard. It's fine. But what happens is if you publicly state that, then you get attacked, I believe. Um, I think it's interesting how narrow-minded certain people can be, and a lot of people may assume that maybe I am the narrow-minded person, and maybe that's true. But all of that aside, that's a personal opinion. It's not an investment move. So everybody is detracting from what the goal is. That's the underlying issue. If you get into trouble, Cabana, I'm in trouble. I need 10 grand. Can I borrow 10 grand? You gonna help me? Fuck no, you ain't gonna help me. So I can't rely on you to help me if I'm in a big fucking trouble.
Do you need
So
a
it's down.
tattoo?
Yeah, I get two. Yeah. So that's basically ultimately the thing, man. It's like you are kind of on your own in this space. Um, so sometimes people, I think it's admirable to actually stand up and do something and say an opinion about something, even if you're going to be attacked, because that goes to show. I mean, to believe it or not, when the liquidity had an issue, there was only one person that I know of who actually asked questions about that inside of the ecosystem. You know who that one person was?
Am I talking to him?
You are.
Okay.
Because unfortunately, a lot of people were a little bit too scared. They didn't want to lose face. So who becomes the fool guy? Well, it's me. Because that's the nature of who I am. I'm outspoken. If I have an opinion, I will say it. And people should, like that or not like that. So that's who I am. You take that, you leave that. It's a British thing. And we got to, analytics show a lot of data in YouTube and other social medias. We have in the range of about 90% American audience. That's always what it is. Um, Especially because of HEX of what we're in. All the social media platforms are predominantly American. Time zones, all the live streams, American time zones.
Yeah, I was about to
So
say.
we have very few people outside of that space. I barely know any English people in HEX. I know one Indian. I saw him today on the Asian chat. And I put a couple of comments in there. I was like, "Whoa!" I'm going to ask him, "Are you British?" No, but he was full on Indian. So I'm like, "Wow, we actually do have an Indian guy."
Was I on the Hex Asians this morning?
Yeah, yeah. I was in there.
I caught a little
One
bit of
of
that.
one of 10 people. So yeah, so you're the other one. So we made up 20% of that chat.
Or
So
viewing audience. Yeah, I didn't
viewing audience, yeah, yeah.
participate. Yeah.
Okay, well, I like
But
to
I do like to
participate.
watch it because I do like to see, like, I feel, and I think you certainly recognize this, the potential for that market is just
Well, it's
off the.
time zones. I think the market for Asia and the market um, for Muslim is a completely untouched market, which brings in millions of people potentially, which have no idea about it. Because one of the biggest trending always on Twitter in Turkey is Bitcoin. They're big in crypto, and believe it or not, Turkey is tax free on cryptocurrencies. Maybe many of you don't know that. It's not regulated. It's an unregulated currency. So you can do anything you want in Turkey with cryptocurrencies, make profit. There's no tax. So most people don't know that. I didn't know that, but it's kind of ironic that I'm here and it happens to be a tax-free location. So,
Ironic?
well, no, it's just I came here completely on the fly because of COVID. I had no intention to come here. It's just one of the few countries I could get to. So
Gotcha.
here I am, and it plays bonus to my situation. That's why it's ironic. Um, so as for a couple of other questions out there, I think one of the other guys that you know I'm actually more of a talker. I mean, I was talking to Franklin today, and he agrees with me. Whenever you do text messages, whenever you do text stuff, it's always out of context. It's never understood in how things are done. And I'm not great in those types of platforms. I'm a speaker. I like to talk. You get the emotion of the voice, you get the expression. Now that you get the face as well. Um, but it carries a bit more. I hate typing. I hate spelling. I hate doing all that stuff. So it may even become something that I do. I just really limit Twitter. It's like it becomes a time drain. Also, um,
Yeah, they're. I will say this: their spaces. They're trying to do, I guess, a clubhouse version of it. And it's the first time I actually tried it last night. Yashdeep opened up a room, and there was about probably 6 to 8, 9 of us in there, and it was actually a rather pleasant thing because instead of, like you're saying, things getting lost in context and typing everything out and then send, if you're trying to actually have a dialogue, then it becomes so cumbersome to where their spaces thing, you can get in a room and your screen doesn't have to be on once you're in the room. You're on your microphone and you can listen. You can either join as a speaker or a listener, and if you have a specific topic to discuss, um, that's a great little forum to do that. And you're getting the voices and the complete thoughts rather than kind of like the bullet points of quick typing. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's you can never really put a message out in text anyway, especially with the character restraints. You have to condense it into the character restraints as well, and you don't want to have like 10 messages throughout. So it's like, okay, maybe this works, it makes sense in your head, but then everyone takes it differently. It's like, and then the whole thing blows up. It's like, fuck's sake. That's not what I meant. And then there it goes. Okay, fine. Right. Well, everyone starts reacting a certain way. I'm like, okay, fuck it. I don't
yeah,
listen to it.
yeah,
I don't need to. So that's the reaction. That's if anybody's got a question as to why things get blocked. I just don't want to. I just one day I just want to not fucking listen to it. Simple.
yeah. And
And
I
I'm
think
allowed to do that. Like,
that's a
why can't
question
I
in
do
the
that?
chat. Yeah, is
Right.
why block numerous other influences from the community for no reason. I think your question, Black Hexagon, was kind of just answered there, and that's again we've mentioned it before. 10 minutes, 20 minutes ago.
Right.
People handle different situations
Right.
differently. So
No, like someone else mentioned. I think it was Toby. I read one of Toby's a while ago, maybe yesterday or something. And people don't know what is going on in other people's lives. Also,
was it
you
Toby
don't know
one?
what. Yeah,
Toby one.
you don't know what other stresses and strains are happening in people's lives. And I won't talk personally about any stuff like that. But I replied to him. I said, basically, yeah, you're totally true. There's a lot of pressures of externals, and um, that that to me just makes I just want to call out. Like I've done my work. It was a big pressure for me to get that March update done. Most people don't know I've spent the last 6 weeks editing solid on the other side, with the pressure of I need to be here for the beginning of March to get up to date with what I'm doing. And a lot of people maybe don't value that aspect, saying the content's not good. That's fine. Like, that's your opinion. Um, and other people said numbers are the value. If people are coming and watching, that's the value, which is totally true. And my opinions may also be wrong. I'm no guru. I'm just a guy like everybody else, and I'm only looking at what my data tells me to what I am seeing inside of the ecosystem. Um, so when I see things dropping off, my brain is telling me the reasons why I think that is happening. I could be right. I could be wrong. I've got no idea. It's just my opinion, and I'm entitled to share that. So yeah, I hope everyone understands that. But yeah, you guys give me the feedback. So that's all I can do. I'm here. I'm in HEX. I love talking about it. I know a lot about it, and I know a lot of the deeper things. So I'm just trying to go out there and make something new in a new place to bring in new people. That's it. And so far it's working, but it's tiring. It's tiring to do two things. Um, and yeah, and lots of other things as well.
Yeah, that's
Any
why I
questions? What's going on?
was gonna say that's why I like the live stream format, because in watching your chain analysis videos, I can see they're edited, and that is such a pain in the ass, man. So good for you for like putting
Yeah,
in the time.
because I chopped out an hour of information of just stuff, right? I condensed it by 30%.
Yep.
So if that's not valuable, saving people an hour, that's one of the things about the streams. The streams are good because you've got no editing to do, but they always run on too long.
Yep.
That's one of the things I definitely notice. So
Yeah, we're talking a little Premier League football in the chat. Someone asked if you're watching the Arsenal game. LOL. Have a Spurs fan here. I said I'm a Chelsea fan. Are you Liverpool, Silver?
I don't watch football.
Oh, you don't? So you just took when
I
you
just like the song.
I was gonna say when you had the theme song, that's where I figured you got it from. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
funny.
it's funny because like most British people, they're all into football. I'm like, no, it's kind of a waste of time as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess there's one more aspect to this which gets brought up, and that is the, I guess, compensation / donation aspect. And I've seen it brought up in the chat here.
Right.
So, I figure it's, fair to address because I've heard you address it before, but, for the time that you feel that you put into it, which I can tell you do,
Mm.
it's a lot of hours, if not days, I would think, or you said weeks, I guess, for some of these projects. So let's see. I'm just trying to find the question. Yeah, I don't think he's jealous of streamers. He does his own thing, but asking for money, I don't really necessarily see you asking for money. It's you have, I guess, a contribution factor. I know fellow Hexicans that contribute and find value in it. So it is what it is. If you like someone's content and get something out of it, or their work or
Mm.
their analysis, you're
Mm.
free to contribute or not to.
So you want me to expand on the
I'd love to.
reasons
Yeah,
of
good.
okay. So I have a goal. I have an ambition of where I want to get to. And the ambition includes me spending all my time on creating content, on making value in multiple areas, and also having the budget to create a lot of interest. And I could do that with my own money, but I also live inside of a budget. So I take care of my costs and I give my time for free to build new areas and to educate. And I want to rely on the support to help me free up my time in different places and to be the source that covers whatever I do externally. You have to be very careful with the words because I can breach the other channel with what I say. Someone could take it. Anyone who's against HEX can take information, report, and get channels banned. That's how the space works. We have people shut down in HEX all the time. So in order to prevent that from happening, you have to conform to YouTube rules. Much like Richard has to say there's no proof of future work. There's certain things legally that have to be done to take care of that. So I would love to say exactly what is going on, but I can't because it makes a problem on the other side, and I don't want to go through a year's worth of work for someone just to shut it down. Because then I've got to start from scratch.
Yeah, and I
And
believe in one of the intro videos that you did before you, it was kind of like the teaser before you started the travel channel. Is one of the tidbits I got out of that, one of the many. But you said, it was essential to talk to a lawyer, and I think it was a she, perhaps, and understand fully what is needed to undertake something like this. We froze out. Come back, Silver. Is chat still there? See, we were just talking about things not going on. There we go. Going according to plan, so the show must go on. Perhaps he'll come back. All right, chat. So Kirk's here. All right. So what y'all got? Any questions? I'll see if we can get him back in the chat. So let's see. MMA greater than football. What's up, Johnny Rico? Johnny Rico is still here. Okay, so I think it was a STA, and I can see him trying to come back here. Okay, yeah, we lost him there for a second. There we go. Hey.
Yeah, apologies. The mobile died, so I lost the connection.
That's all good. Just going through chat. I was telling Chad, I was like, it's funny how we were just talking about the challenges of live stream sometimes, and the show must go on. So there you go.
Yeah. Where was I, or where were you?
Oh shoot! Someone in chat remind me. But let's see. I'm just going back through here. Talking football and let's see. Trying to figure out where I left off.
What the funds were and stuff like that. Something like that.
Oh yeah. So it was just I'm not. I think this is when you cut out. Is I remember watching, I guess, your teaser for the potential travel channel setup that you are now in the process of rolling out. And one of the most important things that you were trying to determine was you sought counsel. Basically, I think it was a she, and because it's such a different area, and funds could be involved, and you wanted to fully understand that before you took a dive into this.
Exactly. So because I'm a tourist, I don't want to fall under any jurisdiction issues of being inside of Turkey and legally having a problem giving away currencies. So and because Turkey can be a strict country, so I don't want to get into any sort of trouble under that. So yeah, I pay for a lawyer to go through everything that I'm doing. So that's an outgoing cost of, I think it was like $250, which isn't a lot, but when you look at the money coming in, you don't get a lot through Patreon. You get nothing through YouTube, as in revenues. So that only leaves you with, like, maybe, if you're lucky, like maybe $700 or $800 a month of support from the community. So when you take into how you can utilize that fund on the other side, so I'm giving away $100 a week. I paid a lawyer $250. You have other expenses that may come with seeking channel support on setting up new things. I've employed consultants. I've employed people to try to do SEOs and stuff like that, because it's not something I know about. And something else I want to do, but like I said, about freeing up time, I want to employ a company that costs $500 a month, and they will edit 20 videos a month for me. But to do that, you've got to get the funds in to pay for that service. And then you have to trust that they're actually going to produce something good for you at the other end. So it's complete experiment. But for me to edit videos, it takes my time. So what's more important? My time to create content for both HEX and on the other side, or for me to sit there editing? Like, what's more value to the community, for example? Because we can pay people cheap to edit, right?
Oh yeah.
But it takes money.
Yep.
So
I mean, they're just not going to volunteer, and yeah.
No, but it's like people assume that, because you're taking the money, you're just spending it on things. All the videos that I'm putting out now, which people probably don't even understand, are about 3 months old, right? It's not the life that I'm living now. I've been in lockdown. Plus, everything I'm doing is my own money.
You have a lot in the bank.
I shouldn't even have to. I shouldn't even have to justify anything.
Yeah.
Say again.
Oh, I said you have a lot of content in the bank. Yeah, I think you.
Yeah, I got another 25 days of videos that I've done. and it took me 6 weeks to do. But look, I've put out 50 plus videos in about 5 weeks on that new channel, and I'm going to have about another 50. So I'm trying, and maybe that's saturating the market that side. Maybe it's too many. I was doing one every single day because I was thinking, oh, maybe the algorithm likes one a day, but I don't think it does. I think it's too much. I don't think people have the time. Even those people that are watching it, I think it's too much. So I dropped it down to just Monday to Friday. And maybe Monday to Friday is too much. So how can I create new content until I've got the old stuff out? Because then it starts sometimes to become irrelevant, especially because of COVID. Things change. Like right now,
engagement. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So to be honest, like one of the biggest tourists that come to Turkey is from the UK. But everybody in the UK can't leave the UK. Lockdown, can't fly out, and
That's
Turkey don't allow you.
one of the worst countries right now in the world, isn't it? UK.
Oh, terrible! Yeah, they completely locked that stuff down. It's complete. It's terrible. So, but that's going to change, and then hopefully my videos are going to be there ready for them to go see it and go, okay, where am I going to go? Because I'm trying to make it relevant for 2021. So when they start to look at it, I'm clicking the keywords to be 2021, thinking, okay, that's maybe I'm onto something here. Because people are going to be hungry to go places, to go to the beaches, to go to the resorts, to look for hotels, to look for food places. So um, I got no idea if what I'm doing works. But if you don't try, you know. So yeah, and one of the other things people saying, oh, you're looking for fame and stuff like that as well. Um, if I was looking for that, I would have done this all a long time ago. I I've traveled for 5 years. I haven't worked in a 9 to 5 for 5 years. Um, I still don't need to work. I'm not making any money from what I'm doing. Um, I'm doing it for a passion because one, I always love to teach. I love to share what I have because it engages my brain. Most of the time, when I did not engage and I was doing other things for the last few years, you become more stupid. You lose your smarts because you're not using your brain. It's why retired people like to go back to university, study something new, become skilled in something else, just to keep active. Play fucking Sudoku, whatever. So I think my connection, I've just tried to switch it over because the one that I'm on now is terrible. And it will lag a lot.
Well, your audio is coming through just fine.
I'm just going to switch now, okay?
Yep. All right. While he makes that switch, chat, I got a couple good questions here, so I'm getting to them on HEX. We are going to talk HEX here shortly once he comes back to finish up our conversation. So, any other questions? Throw them in there. And how's everybody doing today while we wait for Silver to come back? Again, reminder, we have live stream tonight in 5 hours. So we got Big Pep, Randy Hilarski, Big Kurkowski, Whales Only, and Motley Investor. We're going to digest the upcoming, I guess, end stake, or it could very well not happen. Could has 14 days, right? But it'd be cool if it happened, sometime during the show. All right, we got him back. What's up? All right.
Yeah, I caught that last comment saying no one should pay for someone else to have stuff edited. That's cool. That's the situation that I'm in, right? So I've got to do it myself, which means there's a reduction in my output. So if that's what people are happy with, that's my thing to build. I'm talking about what my goal would be. So if people don't want to support that goal, I'll just make it on my own, right? So
yeah, and I guess it comes down to personal choice as to whether you want it or you don't. If you don't want it, then don't buy it. Same with, I guess, the HEX content creation. There's different ways of promoting HEX content or different live streams.
Wait. Let me just address this guy here.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So let's go back to when we didn't see STA was a dick. So that's a personal comment, okay? So that's not appropriate. You think that's a mature thing to be saying in an adult's conversation? Because I don't think it is. What do you think about now?
I don't think that particularly brings value at all. So
Okay. So
you
we
can
don't need
disagree
stuff.
with someone, but the name calling, once we get into
Yeah.
that,
That changes the tone of the conversation. And don't watch me. Leave. You're not valuable to me. What are you giving to me? Nothing. Okay. So I suggest you either change your attitude or you leave. That's simple. Is that fair?
I think it's completely fair.
Okay. Thank you. Let's carry on.
Carry on. So while you were fixing your setup there, I did tell chat to ask any other questions that we had, and there were a couple I could find them and go back, but one had to do with liquidity, and I know you mentioned that in your recent video. Scroll way back here. There we go. Found it. So can you elaborate more on when the liquidity was moved? And you brought this up in your, I believe it was the second half of the video that I was watching, but the timing was rather interesting. So I was just wondering if you could expand on that a little bit. And of course, he has it in his video as well.
The liquidity was moved at what date? What's everybody thinking? What's everybody saying?
I thought it was moved mid-January, but I can pull it up.
So inside of my video, I talk about somebody in particular who was buying huge amounts all the way up until a certain date when he stopped. Why did he stop? Because there was a big problem in liquidity and he didn't want to be moving the price no more. But he bought up about 200 million and he would have continued buying if it wasn't for that. So there's a lot of people who have large amounts because they were able to get it. Now it's not possible to get it. And I don't think this liquidity thing is good. Okay, like let's just be outspoken about it. We can't bring $1 million orders in, so um, let's see what happens over the next couple of weeks, next couple of months. Hopefully, things change drastically in the reshaping of the future. But until then, it's just going to be violent swings up, violent swings down on not all that much activity. So, although it's crazy to see, like what did we see today, yesterday, whatever, like recently went from eighth of a cent up to just over like one, like 20% jump, and then straight back down again because it's too easy to do that. Um, you think you're getting out of the end of the sell pressure. I think a lot of people were starting to think, oh, we're now at 1 cent. Oh, we're out of all the sales are done. And then boom, get smacked back down because it takes nothing to smack it. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, so it looks like the first week of January, and then we had the first batch pulled, and finally the second batch. And I guess you obviously elaborate more on it in the video, but was perhaps one entity not wanting another to, have a outlandish position size, perhaps.
yeah. Well, you know, like there's many people in the space that just get tired of things and they make reactions to certain things. So it was a protective move, and that's all it is. So everybody knows the story. Everybody knows why it's gone. It was a bit of a shock at the time, but when you understand it more, you realize, okay, we're just trying to thrash out all those that want to sell, and if you don't, stake it, and that's it into the future.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much value there is to all this forking talk that's going on as well at the moment. Um, it sounds very strange because one week um, the topic was HEX has the most value being on the most used chain with the most activity, with the most recognition, with the most use case. Now there's talk of let's switch. potentially. Like, who knows if that's even a real tweet, right? Maybe it's just trolling to create a reaction in the marketplace.
Right.
I can't read into it anymore because um, until it happens, until something else materializes, I kind of think that's not the intention. I think that's just a bit of a hype put into the market to think, oh, we're going to get our own chain.
Interesting.
Um, again, who am I? I don't know much about it. I could be completely wrong, but there was a very strong stance and a very strong message that was put out before that Hex is more powerful with an ecosystem that we've built onto that is taking care of all of that transaction space. So if you create your own transaction space and you fork it, you have to take care of that entire network, right? Comes with the costs of running that network too, right?
Yep.
Unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, I also saw it speculated that it could be, and this is pure speculation, but Richard anticipating the bear market, and he likes to build in bear markets, and what better time to build and start organizing, because obviously software takes a long time. So at least perhaps have the wheels in motion, but like you said, we don't know. So
Yeah.
one thing to go back on the liquidity, I have to get a shout out to Steph, who was commenting on one of the streams at the time, and he was, let's say for lack of a better word, pissed at the lack of liquidity, because he would like, some bigger players to want to get in, but it goes against the point that you were bringing up, and it's like, okay, well, how big of a player do you want to bring in? And it's like the controlling of a portion size, I guess.
Well, from my understanding and interaction that he's had with me, he agrees with me on that issue.
Oh, he does. Okay.
Yeah, it's a problem. Yeah, so it's up to everyone else to put liquidity in, so we can attract, and he's fighting gas fees. So it's like right from the beginning of this conversation, we're fighting both sides of that situation.
Yep.
So until that changes, it's just going to kind of remain the same, right?
Yep.
How can it change?
Spike. It is an interesting conversation, and we're talking all things here. Trying to finish up a little bit with the big stake ending tonight. So I believe Johnny Sachs had a poll out earlier today. Let's pull it up here, and can go over the options and perhaps get Silver's if he would choose any of these, or if he's leaning one way or another. Let's see here. So yeah, it's like, how about a fun poll on today's Whale stake? My bet is 100% restake for 365 days. So a year on the button. Other options are restake for less than a year, all of it, sell a lot, restake some, or sell some, restake a lot. I'm kind of in the restake everything camp, but you have a take on that one?
I do have a take, and I say it inside my video.
That's right. Which is in the description, by the way. So.
If I was a whale, if I had that position, I would fuck you all up.
I've also mentioned the same thing, but a different kind of mess up. But yeah,
I would make you all shit your bed. That's it.
That's it. That's
none of the above.
David, they're gonna 5-5-5-5 and stuff. Oh man.
Yeah. So I know they're not going to do that.
You know they're not going to.
No, they won't 5-5. No.
Oh yeah. No, I'm actually hoping for what is mentioned in your video, or a variation of what I'm thinking of that. And because if you're really staked out, and if you're in it for the long term, what's it matter? And especially if it builds a stronger base for the overall product going forward, I hope a lot of people here that are watching are, banking on cashing out, the day after this guy or entity, rolls the stake over or whatever it is, or does whatever they do based upon the actions of that stake. So if we're staked out, who really cares? Aren't we more interested in the long-term health of the product? So if we get a lot of shaken out of some of these liquid wallets, I mean, I have a ton of tabs open with just these guys that are selling, and then one guy has a huge wallet. He sold probably hundreds of millions of HEX, but what he does now, I guess, to make it harder for Silver to trace, even though Silver's all over it, is he'll send millions to another wallet and sell from that wallet, and then once that wallet is done selling, he'll pick another wallet and then send millions more to another wallet and then sell from that address. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot liquid out there. I know, Hexkins tend to get excited when that magical penny mark is traded over, but also encourage a little bit of perspective, because there's a lot of liquid still out there, a lot less than it used to be, because a lot of these wallets have been drained to zero, but there's a lot of liquid out there. And I guess, promo Silver covers that in a lot of his videos.
Not the liquid aspect. That's
Right.
a completely different animal.
Well, you do have
Um,
a column for some of that liquid, though.
there's some, but that's only liquid inside of staked accounts
Okay.
or anything linked to a top account, any form of that. But if the account is purely a liquid account ever since day one, that's a completely different category,
Yeah.
which is a lot more different to track and trace. I haven't set that up because generally they're being inflated against, and over time they will obviously lose position, and most of them cash out at periods anyway. So ultimately, they won't be in the marketplace longer term. Whereas when you look at the staking class, those are the people who are actually in the game. The rest of them will be eroded out. No matter what balance they've got, they will cash out over the next couple of years. The reason it's liquid is they're trying to catch a pump. That's why it's liquid. Anybody else is a different game. We're going for shares into the distance. So one of what was the other thing I wanted to possibly share?
Yeah, I don't want to step on your toes too much, because you did recently publish the video, but I love having the conversation. So yeah,
I've not said anything about what's in my video.
anything
Most of that,
else? Well,
yeah,
yeah, I've tried to. You push me back a little bit if I say too much, so that's totally fine. But yeah, anything else you'd like to share before we wrap up? Go for it.
yeah. So make sure you come over, check it out. Remember that the whole intention of anything that I ever make is to be shared. It's not to be kept private. If I decide to change my format into the future and only make things for those who actually are high tier people, what people might not know is some people do actually contact me for higher level information, and some of them do pay better money than just giving it out for free. I am more about helping majority of people understand the space as opposed to just helping a few fat whales become more fat. But it's much more easier for me to help 5 or 10 people than it is to share things through 100, 200, or 1,000 people,
Yeah.
especially with the feedback that you get at certain times. So one guy has asked me in particular, if he is to make a very large play soon, how much of a certain play is going to be a big problem inside of the marketplace? Which
That's
means
what you have to think about with low liquidity, right?
plus you've got limit orders. So you have to calculate that all into place, how much limit order is on the buy side. And he wants to know, if I am to sell X%, what is going to happen to the place? Because it all gets decentralized throughout all the market orders. So he might be very interested in selling a large amount, and he's asking me for my opinion, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And he's one of the guys that pays me. So he might even be one of those top accounts. I don't know, but he probably is. So we'll take that with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
Something might be happening very shortly, because he might be wanting to either be the guy who's doing the end stake, or he might be the one trying to front run him, who's also in a powerful position. So everybody's thinking nothing much is going to happen. Let's see.
Yeah. Well, I guess before we close, it just leads me to one thing. It's like, okay, with the talk about um, compensation or donations, is if we go back to your main statement, main goal. You said it before we even got on stream. You said it here. What do you care about? It's the price of HEX. So what are you going, in the end, what would you stand to benefit most from? Some donations for your efforts, in chain analysis.
I value the most.
I'm going somewhere with this. What would you stand to benefit from? Your, donations through that work, or the ultimate payoff, which is the benefit and sharing of that information to a community, or those especially outside of community, I think is the point right now, to where the price of HEX going up far outweighs any compensation measure achieved within doing this work. The ultimate goal here is to spread awareness, to get HEX into stronger hands for the long term, and if you do that, then that's the end goal.
I don't want to lock up the supply into just a few hands because it becomes too controlling.
Many hands.
I'm very I'm very disencouraged by the gas fees. It really does make a problem. We can't get it into fewer hands until version 2 or some other thing happens. This layer 2 stuff is too problematic to teach people how to do that. And there's on and off ramps of that which have fees. So I care a lot about the $100 investor, a lot, because those people.
Perhaps that's why the Richard tweet, went out. Maybe that's a big reasoning is, hey, we gotta, get more people in, the masses in for those $100 buys way more efficiently, because this gas fee thing.
Yeah, it sucks. I give away $100 to someone. They probably want to, maybe buy HEX with it, but they're going to lose most of it buying it. They don't know it when I'm telling them about it, but it's a reality.
Yeah,
it's terrible. So it becomes only a rich man's game, and yeah, that means it becomes centralized to the few. So the goal, we all want to make sure the price goes up, and everybody's just trying to create that aspect, and I'm no different. If I just cared about myself, I would keep everything to myself and just take care of myself. So I find it amazing how people respond.
And as the community grows, again, we've said it before, and that's the product of a larger and larger community, and you'll have different actions, reactions, and it's part of growing together. And I just think it was a good conversation to have, and of course talking HEX and everything else. And I would normally say shill your stuff, but your links in the description there. I guess, where can they find you on Twitter or any other place that you'd like to be reached?
The videos are better quality anyway than to Twitter. Yeah, just Silver The Antidote over YouTube, and that's it. You'll get the other links elsewhere from there.
Awesome.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time to have this chat, and look forward to.
Takes care of a lot of the issues. Everybody can settle down. You haven't got to be all irate, and everybody's happy.
And the door's open. It's not an end all be all. So we'll move on, and we'll be a stronger community.
It's important people can oppose in any sort of community. Everyone doesn't have to have the same narrative. That's my message. It's good to have different opinions.
Gotcha. And we are stronger in the community for it. Thank you very much, man.
Take care. All right. Catch you later, man. Good luck tonight.
Hey, thank you. Right. Hopefully something happens. If not, it'll be all right. It'll be a fun chat. So while you mentioned that, 7 p.m. So it's 4.5 hours from now.
Hey, Big Pep.
Got Big Pep on.
Too late, man. You just missed it.
Yeah, Big Pep's here. Big Pep and Big Kurkowski, a lot of the big boys. Motley Investor, Randy Hilowski, Wales Only. So it's gonna be a fun chat.
Okay, cool. Have a good one, guys.
Thank you.
I'll see you then later. Take care. Bye-bye.